Hi, Zaplos here. Today I'll be showing you the best minions that you should run for each game stage. This video will mainly be targeted in the order of priorities of minions that you must run in the early and mid game stages so that you get all those important collections down. So if you want to switch to minion setups that make a lot of money like slime or snow, then you can run that without worrying about collections again. And I'll also be touching on some good money minions for late game players. However, before we begin, I'd just like to ask you to please subscribe if you haven't already and you find this video helpful. It really means a lot to me, and I'd really want to go for that YouTube rank, so I'd really appreciate if you subscribed. Thank you. Alright, so the first minion is the redstone minion. It is super important as an early game player because of the fact it gives you so much helpful upgrades, and you can find this in the deep caverns in the pigment den. Alright, so let's take a look at redstone collection. If we go to redstone, as you can see, unlocks the small accessory bag, and then the medium accessory bag, and then large accessory bag, and basically it's all these accessory bag upgrades that allow you to hold much and much more talismans. Even if you don't have a lot of talismans early game, these will quickly become like a lot, and you have to store, like, I have all of these talismans right over here, and I have to store all of them. If I just invested another like 50 million coins, I wouldn't even have enough space to hold all these talismans. Now I know some of them are duped, like duped in terms of like two of them because I just used that as a temporary holding space, but yeah. Okay, so now if we go back to Redstone Collection, there's actually two money making methods you can use. The personal compactor, as you can see, which 4,000, 5,000, 6,000, and 7,000, which you can actually all craft for profit, and the travels go to deep caverns, which you can also craft for profit, which is why I think Redstone Collection not only it gives talismans, it also gives pretty good money making methods. Alright, so next, minion you should be running is the iron minion, and this minion is actually really easy to get. All you need to do is go to the gold mines. You don't even need to go into the deep caverns, just go into the gold mines, mine some iron, and you'll have enough collection for the iron minion. Okay, so this is the iron minion, and there's actually only one reason why you should be running this minion, which makes it rank a lot less than redstone. Redstone's kind of like the all-encompassing minion, and iron is only like, oh, I run it because I want to run it for some collection. Okay, so basically for the iron minion, right, um, let's look at the collection. Okay, so iron collection. The most important part about iron collection is the personal deleter talisman. This item is actually soul bound, which means you can't buy off the auction house. And while this may seem like nothing early game, late game, you're gonna need to get this talisman in order to fill your talisman bag, and you can't buy it off the auction house, so you have to have the recipe to craft it. So I recommend you run Iron Minion to get this when you're early game, so that you don't have to worry about it late game. It's the easiest way. Additionally, this will only appeal to some players though. It also unlocks the Enchanted Hopper recipe. Uh, Enchanted Hopper, yeah, here it is. Quite a bit of collection, but it's a really good recipe because you can make about 100 to 200,000 coins per craft, and it only costs about 1 million coins. And you can easily make millions per hour just by doing this. Okay, so the next minion that you need to run is the fishing minion, and for this minion, you actually need to fish a lot in order to get it. It might even take like 30 minutes, so I recommend you have a friend craft it or buy from someone for the best possible use of time, or you could just fish and get the recipe. Okay, so this is the fishing minion, and this is what a setup should look like. The reason why I recommend this minion so much, main reason is because of the sheer amount of skyblock XP it gives. The first day you run it, you'll get 30 skyblock XP, which is literally like a lot. It's the same as maxing out a collection, and it's a huge boost to unlocking that bazaar at level 7. So for the fishing minion though, there's also some good collections that I like to point out. So there's Clownfish collections, which increases the stacks of sacks, basically increases the size of the stacks you can store, and this is pretty important even with all the sack of stacks upgrades. I don't think, including the ones that cost skyblock gems, I still can't store all my stacks, and these basically store items, so it's like the thing that stores the items that stores the items. That's pretty important. And next we also have the pufferfish, which increases your fishing sack. Excuse me, it unlocks the fishing sack, which is one type of sack. And basically, what sacks do is when you get an item, it goes into the sack. Really helpful. I have pretty much every single sack in the game. Highly recommend it. But as you can see, this is unlocked in the pufferfish collection. There was one other, I think. I don't think there's actually anything else that important. All of these, like you might say, oh, a secret artifact, you can just buy that off the auction house. Yeah, pretty much all of these. Yeah, but there's also a fishing bag upgrade, which if you're really into fishing, which I'm not because it's a horrible money making method. You also have a larger fishing bag, which I guess is something. But those are some collections. I highly recommend it just because of the amount of collections the fishing minion can offer and the amount of skyblock XP it can give. Okay, so the next minion is the quartz minion, and you actually have to come to the blazing fortress, go under the volcano to find quartz, which isn't that easy if you're really early game, and it takes a lot of time. So I recommend just asking somebody to craft the quartz minion for you. It will be a lot easier. All right, so this is the quartz minion. So let's take a look at the collection that the quartz minion unlocks. This only unlocks one thing that's really useful. So this rank's kind of behind, but it's still really important to run this early game so that you get ahead late game, and you have to run this. I mean, two things actually. One thing that you definitely have, and one money making method that you could use. Okay, so the first thing that you really have to run because of the quartz minion is the day crystal and night crystal. Night crystal is 10,000 quartz collection, day crystal is 25,000 quartz collection. You shouldn't need to run more than 1 minion, but you may have to run it for a couple of days to unlock these. And this is the reason, because like this, you can't really auction nether stars. So you can't buy the day and night crystal off the auction house, which means you have to craft it yourself. And this also unlocks a money making method, which is the main expander. This only costs about 20,000 coins to craft. You can sell it for about 50,000 coins, which is also profit if you're interested in that. But I think overall the quartz minion is a pretty important minion to craft. Alright, so the next minion you should be running is the coal minion. It's super easy to get. All you need to go is go in the hub, go to the coal mines, and you can easily get this minion. Alright, so next up we have the coal minion, and this is what the coal minion looks like. So let's take a look at the coal minion's collection. So we come into the collection. The main thing about coal minion collection that I think is really important is the sack. I actually don't have max collection because I actually got the final sack in a time when you could drop on other people, so I didn't need to. I just had one of my friends give one to me, drop one to me, but now you can't trade or auction sacks, so the only way you can get them is for collections. And basically the sack is really useful because it holds all of the mining items that you have, so you don't have to like hold them in your inventory. And like basically, let me just give examples. So I have nether quartz. I drop it on top of me. It doesn't go into my inventory. It goes into my sack, which is my mining sack. Wait, I'm having a hard time opening this. Okay, and as you can see, it goes into the nether quartz, which is stored here. I can pick it up. I can also use the seal instantly function on the bazaar to seal everything in my sacks instantly. Also, just one thing, if you see my young armor, it's recombobulated. I just run around with it because it makes me go really fast. I don't do that much combat. But yeah, basically, the mining sack is really useful. And like if I try mining coal, none of it goes into my inventory. All of it goes into the sack. That's why I highly suggest you run a coal minion. Max out that, get the large enchanted and mining sack and mining sack. Probably the most useful sack. There's also the combat sack, which I'd say is equal useful, but that is I don't recommend you get that by running a minion. But that's the coal minion, and you mainly want to run this for the mining sack. So after you have some decent collections in the areas I mentioned, hopefully you got all those items. Most of the other items you can run if you want to save some money, but I still recommend you buy off the auction house. It's just a lot easier that way. Have the people who have the collections do it for you. You don't really need it yourself. You could run it if you want to, but as you approach more mid to late game, I recommend you start running some skill minions so that you can switch to full money setup later. So for skill minions, for mining, you will likely want to run ice the most. For combat, it's going to be one of the Slayer minions like Revenant or Tarantula minion. For farming, you don't really need to run any minion. You can make so much more hour just by farming or opening Jerry boxes. Same with forging. If you're rich enough with money minions, you don't really have to grind. You can also grind if you want to, but you can just open Jerry boxes and get all the XP you need. I know a lot of people are going to disagree with this, but you can also just grind, but running minions probably isn't the best idea for those skills. For fishing, it takes quite a while, so I recommend you get clay minions because it's just going to be a lot easier. And for also for enchanting and alchemy, don't forget to do the experiment table every day and brew some potions during derby so that you can get the alchemy enchanting XP that you need. But that's basically how it looks like mid game. There's not really too much specific collections to go into. Generally, just run any minions that give the most skill XP to the respective amount you want, so you don't have to worry so much since you have basically all the collections that you need to have. Additionally, you can be running more sacks if you want to, such as the agronomy sack, which stores all your farming stuff. That's in the wheat minion collection. And there's also the combat sack, which you could also run, which is in the combat collection. But none of those are as important as the mining sack, which you definitely need to run a co-minion for early game. But that's basically how it looks mid game. Okay, so after you get all the collections you need early game and all the XP you need mid game, then you're going to be wanting to run money minions or minions that give sacks. I pretty much ran every single minion, so I unlocked almost all the sacks. For sack minions, it's pretty much just go to the collection and see which one gives sacks. I can't remember all of them for the top of my head, although I recommend you get the combat sack, which is in zombie collection, and the fishing sack, which is in raw cod collection. But basically, you can run sacks, but most people, you're probably going to be wanting to run money minions. Now, the easiest money minion, and if you're really lazy, I highly recommend you run this minion, is the snow minion. Ever since the update, it's become really cheap, so you can just go to lobbies saying or buying snow minions and get a super compactor, get a diamond spreading. Also, I actually figured out how to make one snow minion make like 200k a day, which makes it actually better than pretty much any minion except the slime minion. But you can also run the slime minion. The only thing about that though is the setup is really expensive and you have to AFK and stuff, which is kind of complicated. So if you don't want to run a slime minion, that's completely fine. It'll probably be the most profitable minion. There's also a lot of regular minions that happen to be good. These are usually better than the snow minion, except for the snow minion with a Krampus helmet. No matter what stage you're in, I still recommend that you always have a snow minion that has a Krampus helmet. Excuse me, no matter what minions you're running. If you're early or mid game, you probably can't afford one because Krampus helmets are expensive. But yeah, basically run those money minions like Ghast minion, Sheep minion, Lapis minions. Those are all minions that are really good, but sometimes they drop down, which is why I make videos on the best minions every week. So if you want to get updated on the best minions every week, make sure to check out those videos. So that's basically what I want to do. Either run those money minions or run some more collections that you might be interested because sacks are so bound.